What's happening, fam? LAR movement still moving. This one's an eye for an eye is effective. Uh, was having a conversation, and that turned into another conversation with somebody else about how people feel like an eye for an eye is wrong. And I was like, well, you can't consider an eye for an eye wrong or right. It's a response. And sometimes people get biblical with it, and I was like, well, so I talked to the Rev, guy who's at my job, who's a reverend, and I was like, how's an eye for an eye really wrong when your responding was done to you? Prime example: if somebody hits you in the face and you hit them back, that's an eye for an eye. Now, they tell people to turn the other cheek, and violence begets violence. And the problem with that is this: when you tell a person to turn the other cheek was not a passive quote. It was more of a quote to say, if you hit me, slap me in my face, I'm going to turn this way. Because, in a sense, you ain't going to hit me hard enough. So, if you can't hit me hard enough, you wasting your time. Now, the other thing, the violence begets violence, is if somebody does something to you and then you do something back, you didn't start the violence. You just ended the violence. You get what I'm saying? So if you ending the violence, then what are you begetting? It'd be different if somebody was violent with you and you misdirected that anger and became violent with somebody who has nothing to do with it. That's a whole another ball game. So I was like, well, so in this conversation, rather, my position was like, take history for example. We use the realm of, okay, you shouldn't stand up for yourself because it's somebody else's job to stand up for you. Well, no, it's your job to stand up for yourself. Now, when the deck is stacked so supremely against you that even if you stand up for yourself, you might not be able to get justice, that's what the law is for. But I say that because a lot of things went on recently. Because about it being effective. Like, people talk about the Christopher Dorner thing, and I talked about that maybe, I don't know, a week ago or so. And some people say he's crazy, he's a madman, he's this. But there's one thing that he got that everybody else didn't get. He basically said in those letters, look, I'm going to have to knock off a few people for y'all to take what I'm saying seriously, for y'all to reopen my case and look at it for real. And what happened? He put a letter out there, he shot a few people, and then all of a sudden, the LAPD want to reopen the case. First of all, if y'all think he would, and with that, if you think that what was going to happen was they're going to say that he was right, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because even if he is completely right about that situation, they want to save face. And you're not going to say we did wrong this guy who killed these 4 people and that triggered him to do the things he did because that would be a bad mark on them. They might say he was right 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road when you're watching a basketball game and you completely forgot about it and then it goes by the ticker. Christopher Dorner actually found acquitted of those actions. And you're like, what the hell? That's the way this country works. The other thing about things being effective. Right, wrong, and effective are 3 completely different things. You could get in an argument about what's right and what's wrong. But the question is what works. And being effective is about what works, not what's right or what's wrong. So it's always, what I'm saying is, power of right and wrong is circumstantial and sometimes situational. But what works is what's necessary. So, if you understand where I'm coming from, I hope you do. If you don't, I guess I didn't do a good job of explaining it. But I probably did, but you just don't understand that. All right. Peace.